Shall we begin?
Let's begin now.
Hi everybody, it's Doreen, and I'm back with a challenge that I did for myself. That this time I needed to make an anniversary card for my brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and I decided I'm not going to use the Cricut and I'm not going to use the Gypsy. I did use Erica or my Silhouette Cameo, but just for a small portion. So today's project is not going to be using the Cricut or the Gypsy. What we will be using is some of my dies and some of my punches. So I'm going to be using the My Creative Time dies, the rolled flower die. I'm also going to be using my Spellbinders dies, and we'll be using the Label 7 die, and it looks like this. So we're going to be using all of the sizes except for the largest size and the little bitty tiny size. So there's one size that's bigger than this one and one size that's smaller than this one. Those we will not be using. And we will be using the Martha Stewart Scroll Dots Punch. So what does our project look like? We are making another easel card. So this is the front of the card, and it sits up like so. So I'm going to just tip this up so you can see. So come on and join me, and I'm going to show you how I made this card. Okay everybody, so we're going to bring up the supplies so we can get started with the card. So now I got this idea somewhat from another YouTuber, and I'll put a link to her video up here in the corner, how she did her book card or book easel card, but I just made mine just a little bit different. So let's start with our card size. So my card measures 5.5 by 11, and I've taken it and scored it at 5.5 and 5.5 and at 8.5. So that is the base of our card, and this is I believe this is Recollections cardstock. So we're just going to put this aside for right now, and we'll start talking about our layer that we're going to put on top of here to make our easel. So now my first piece of cardstock measures 5.5 by 5.5 inches, and then my next layer measures 5.25 by 5.25, and I've gone ahead and inked my edges using the Festive Berries Tim Holtz Distress ink. And then the final layer that we'll be putting on top is measures 5 inches by 5 inches, and this paper is from a paper pack that's by DCWV, and it's called the Scrapbook Kit in a Stack Love and Wedding. So that's what we'll be using for that top layer. So since I'm not adding any ribbon on this piece, we're going to just begin to start taping down our layers. So we'll start with this layer first, and I'm going to bring up my ATG gun, and we're going to get some tape all the way around our edges, and then we'll get some tape in the middle. I'll just make my usual crosses or X's. So let's add this to our layer here, and we're just going to line this up, and then we're going to go ahead and press it down all the way around. So now let's finish adding our layers, and I want to make sure I get this on the right side because I've added some pencil marks here where I want my scallop edges to go. So we're going to work from this side. But first I want to just bring this up. And as I said, with this card, we are not using the Cricut. So this is going to be a first for me, I think. I don't think I've made any cards without using the Cricut. So I wanted to start using some of my dies and some of my punches. So no Cricut in this video, but we are using Erica, which is my Silhouette, for just a few minor things. So I want to make sure I have this the way I want it, and that's correct. So I think what we'll do is we'll just tape this down first. So now what this is just some scraps of my pink cardstock, and I punched this out using the Martha Stewart scroll dots, which look like that. And I've made a pencil mark where I want each one to go. So we're going to be putting one here. So let's just take our ATG gun again. And I'm sorry, this piece measures 1.5 inches by 5 inches. So we're going to get some tape on the back of here. And I also went ahead and inked my edges. And this time I used the Fire Brick Distress Ink by Tim Holtz. So we'll line up our first piece and put it down. And that's going to go right there. And then we'll get some tape back on the other side here. And this piece measures the same, 1.5 inches by 5 inches. And let's see here. So I'm going to take this, and this time I'm going to flip it up this way. And then I'm going to line it up. And I'm going to add this piece. Okay, so now we can take this and add it to our layer here. And it's going to be right there. So once again, we'll take the ATG gun. And you can see I wrote my measurements on the back. Because I couldn't remember. I can't always remember what I cut things at. Because sometimes when I cut my cards out, I cut more than one card at a time. And then I forget, without checking my notes or looking on the back of the paper, what size I cut what. So this is going to go like so. And this piece will sit right on top of here. So now that's the majority of our layers. So now what I want to talk about is what I use to make the book portion of my card. And as I said, I got this from another YouTuber's channel. I believe her channel is called Vadeler, or I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. But like I said, I will put a link to her channel up here. So what I've done is I've taken the Labels 7 die, and I've taken all the sizes but the very largest size. So the Label 7 looks like this from the Spellbinder's die. And I've cut, or die cut it out, 2 of each. And I used some red cardstock that is the same cardstock as my layer here. And this is also some Recollections. And then what I've done is I took my ruler and I just curled from the middle out on each side. So since I've already curled this and I do have tape on the back of here, I'm not going to be able to take it and curl it and show you what I mean. But basically you just take your ruler and go from the middle and just curl your paper back on each side. So then what I've done is I've taken some of the double-sided tape, and let's hope I can get this off. And actually, before I forget, we're going to do the middle first. But first I want to make sure that's taped down correctly and that it's sticking, which it looks like I'm really going to have to press here. Because what we want to do is we want to make sure this stays. So I think what I'm going to do is because this is so hard to get up. Oh, there we go. So now I've got the one layer off, and then I have 2 thicknesses of foam tape in between the 3 layers of the double-sided tape. And we're going to make sure we get all of this off, including the tape backing for the foam tape. And then I'm going to add it to my layer. So I've gotten all the double-sided off and backing off, and now we'll take off the foam tape. And I don't know if I said, but this is 2 thicknesses of foam tape that's on here. And you'll see why I'm doing this as soon as I get this off of here. And even with nails, this is sometimes still hard to get off. So, okay, so now there we have it. So now what you want to do is you want to put down your center first. So I'm just going to line this up where I want it. And then I'm going to press down my center. And then I'm going to fold my edge and press down, because we're trying to make this look like an open book. So now let's do our other side. And I'm going to press down. And then I'll press down with my foam tape, just so that pops up, like so. And if you can see that. So now we're ready to add, and what I've done is I've cut out 2 of each layer. So I want to have a pretty thick book here. So we're going to put down our next layer, and I actually only cut 1 of this one. So we'll go to the next size and we'll add that one. So let's get our tape off. Okay everybody, so I'm back and I'm ready to add my next layer. So once again, we're going to push down in the center first, and then we'll do our edges, and we'll press down with our next edge like so, and press down. So I'm going to continue adding my layers, and then I'll be back once I have all my layers added. Okay everybody, so now I'm back to add my last layer, and I don't know if I was working on this card in my head, so this is what I came up with. And as I said, I cut 2 layers of each die, but I think if I were to make this card again, or if you were to make this card, you might just want to do 1 layer or maybe 2 layers, but then when you get to the smaller layer, just do 1, because I still need to put this very top one on here, and which I've done, but I kind of wish that it had sat down further in the center. But it actually looks okay because they've been married 31 years. So now that we've got everything on, we can now work on the inside of our card, because this is going to sit like so, and then you'll have your easel. So let's add our embellishments for the inside. I'm just going to put this to the side right now, and I'm going to get rid of all this tape backing, and we'll work on the inside of the card. So what I have here is, once again, I actually don't need that layer, so that was just an extra scrap. So we have a piece of cardstock that measures 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and we're going to place that there. And then we have a piece of cardstock that measures 5 inches by 5 inches, and this is also from that DCWV scrapbook kit in a stack, and it looks like this. And it's actually papers that you can do a scrapbook, or if you want a mini album. So, and you also get wording as well in here, in this kit. So let's begin to add our layers. So what I want to do before I tape everything down is I want to put this on here just temporarily. We're not going to tape it down just yet. And then I want to bring my top layer over because I need to line up where I want my stoppage to be. And I think I'm going to have it stop right there. So what I've done is, this is where I've used my Silhouette or Erica. And what I've gone ahead and done is, with the Silhouette, you get the Silhouette Studio software, but I went ahead and purchased the Silhouette Studio design software because they had a special going when I purchased my Silhouette. And you get 51 free designs, and one of the free designs was this banner. So I cut this out, and I believe this measures 5 inches. I think that's what I cut it out as. I didn't write that down. And it cuts out as 2 pieces. So what I've done is I've taken one of my stamps and stamped out Happy Anniversary and added some foam tape on the back. And then I once again took the Tim Holtz Distress ink, the fire brick, and distressed my edges. And I've stamped out, I distressed this in the Festive Berry, and I stamped the Happy Anniversary with the fire brick. So we're going to have that be the stop point. So I first want to add this piece, and then this is going to be my, I'm going to put this on top to make that my stoppage. So I want to very lightly mark this with the pencil where I want this to go. And I just want to make sure when we close up our card that that does line up. Okay, so we'll put this piece aside again, and we're going to add this piece of our banner. So I'm going to get out my 2-way zig pen, and we're going to get some glue on here and get this down. So I'm just going to run this along here at my points, and then we'll pick this up and we'll line this up where I put those pencil marks, and then we'll just press this down like so. And then I'm going to add this in the inside here. And I've got this popped up on some foam tape, and I think I want to put one more piece of foam tape in the center there. So I have a piece already cut here. So we'll add this. And actually, before we put this down, you better go ahead and tape this so we can make sure we get even coverage with our tape. So let's get some tape on here, and we'll get our edges. And I better move this over because I've gotten glue on this side. So I'm going to move this out the way and I'll move this for a minute. And we'll get our tape all the way around and not on the paper here, on my fingers. And then we'll get this on here. And I've inked my edges with this as well using the Festive Berry. So we've got that all the way on. And then we'll get our tape on the back of here, like so. And these pieces measure the same as the front. If I didn't say that before, the bottom layer measures 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and the top layer measures 5 by 5. So we'll add this to the inside of the card, except it goes off just a little bit, so I'm going to pull that up and try that again. So there we are. So now I've got that down, and now we can go ahead and add our happy anniversary. So I'm going to get my foam tape off, and actually, once again, I'm going to wait before I do that because I forgot one step. I wanted to make it look like there was a bookmark in here, so what I need to do is go back and add this ribbon in between here. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to come back. So this is just a reminder, when you go to add your ribbon, put your ribbon down in the center piece of your book. Okay, everybody, so what I ended up doing is I couldn't get this completely up, so I kind of just sneaked my ribbon in through here, and then pulled it through, and it's kind of stuck halfway in between there. And then the one piece I pulled down, and then I just added a bling leaf at the bottom to hold it down, so it looks kind of like a little charm. So let's continue on and finish up our card. So I'm going to add my final piece on the front, which is I'm going to put a ribbon, a rose on the front, and this is one of the rolled roses, and this is from, let's see, which one is this one? This is from Emma, and her blog or her company is, she's My Creative Time. I always get that one and My Favorite Things confused. So I have this petal roller that I use, and what I do is just put it in between the slot here, and I just begin rolling my flower, and I just keep rolling all the way like so, and just keep rolling around. So I'm going to finish this up, and then I'll be back with the finished rose. Okay, so I am back with my finished rose, and this is my rose. So what I've done, I've taken some of the scrap cardstock from the card, or my second layer here, and I used the dye, as I said before. It's the rose dye, and to give it a little shimmer, I use my watercolor paints, which look like this, and I picked these up at Michael's, and I also use some iridescent medium that I mixed in with the watercolor paints. So we're going to put our finished rose right here in the corner. So I'm going to get some glue on the back of the rose, and then we'll add it to the card. So I'm going to put it right up here in the corner. So now we are ready to add this to the front of our card to make our easel. Now, note to remember, because this is raised up as high as it is, I ended up using some score tape, or actually this is the tape that I picked up on one of my hauls. It's double-sided tape. I'm trying this out for the first time because to press down with the ATG gun would have been a little bit harder to do. So just remember that if you're going to make this card and you're going to use those layers like that, that's what's going to happen. I suppose you could probably take the ATG gun and just run it across like that, but I didn't want to do that. So I just decided I'll just add some score tape here, or double-sided adhesive tape, and I've got some along here on the edges, so we're going to just snip that off like so and push it back. And then we're going to line up our edges from edge to edge. And remember, you don't want to add tape up here because then your card won't fold down and you won't be able to mail it if you're going to mail it to someone, which I am doing. So there we have it. It is now on and it's ready to sit up. And actually, it's sitting up perfectly fine without having my stoppage. But because this is an anniversary card and I do want to put that in there, we're going to remove our adhesive tape or the backing from our adhesive, and we're just going to add this piece to our card, and then we'll have our inside done. So I'm going to place the happy anniversary right down inside of here. Now we have our stoppage and we have our card. So now what I want to do is, you know what I got to add, and it just needs just a little bit. So I'm going to add my bling and then I'll come back with the finished card. And oh, before I forget, I do have one other thing to add to our happy anniversary. I have these roses that I've taken once again and used my watercolor paints and the iridescent medium just to give them a little shimmer. And these are the Recollections flowers. So I want to put one in each corner right here. So I'm going to get some glue on the back of here. And then I'm going to add one of the roses in each corner. And I want to snip this off just a little bit more here. And then we can add our glue. And then we'll add our rose. So now your card won't lay completely flat, but you should still be able to mail it if you're going to mail your card. And I actually said this one was going to be mailed. This one is actually going to be hand delivered. So it should be okay. I may just put it in a box. So I'm going to add my bling and I'll be back. So that's it, everybody. This is the finished card for my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. So what I did is I went ahead and added some bling in the corner of the book. And there you have it. And guess what? I did it without using the Cricut and the Gypsy. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.